If you're looking to buy an air fryer, you're in the right place. I have personally tested and reviewed dozens of air fryers in my kitchen over the last 2 years. And in this video, I'll bring all that knowledge together and show you the pros and cons of some of the best-selling models. Before we begin, if you're new here, I make videos that help you choose and use your home appliances. You could really help me by subscribing to this channel, and if you find this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. First of all, a couple of the air fryers in this video were gifted to me over a year ago. But so you know which ones, I'll pop that up on the screen when we get to them. But the manufacturers haven't paid me to make this video, and you will still get my honest opinion. So Ninja are the market leaders with air fryers, and you'll see a few of their models popping up during this video. But let's start with their 3 side-by-side dual drawer models, which are the Foodie, the Foodie Max and the Smart Foodie Max. The last 2 of these are exactly the same size, but the Smart one has an integrated temperature probe which tells you when your food is cooked. I've owned 2 of the 3 models, and even though I don't use it anymore as my family air fryer, I still keep the Foodie Max on the shelves behind me because as it's the best-selling model in the UK, I often use it as a benchmark for other models I'm reviewing. So here's what you need to know about all 3 of those dual drawers. The Ninjas have a few things which mark them out from other cheaper dual drawer air fryers in the market. Firstly, the 6 cooking functions which you can choose between aren't just a selection of pre-programmed times and temperatures. They do have different fan speeds. Weirdly, Ninja don't really talk about this in their marketing material, and I had to dig around and send a few emails to actually get an answer out of them, but I eventually did, and this is what they told me. There are 3 fan speeds across the 6 functions. Max Crisp, Air Fry and Roast run at the fastest fan speed. Bake runs at a medium fan speed, and Dehydrate is the slowest. But you may have spotted it doesn't actually mention what fan speed Reheat runs at, which may be medium or maybe low, and probably doesn't matter either way. The other thing about Ninja air fryers is they have nano ceramic coatings, which is why many people prefer them to other air fryers. Snapping at the heels of the Ninja dual drawers is the Cosori dual basket. This is an air fryer that I was gifted by the manufacturers 18 months ago at a time when I was very happy using my Ninja dual basket and absolutely not looking for a replacement. But I was won over by it, and it is still the model that we are using in our family kitchen to this day, although be warned, it is not perfect. At 8.5 litres, its capacity is right in the middle of the 2 Ninja dual drawers, but it has a slightly wider drawer, which I find more versatile. Cosori have added free accessories and a load of extra features to this which the Ninja doesn't have, including a built-in preheat cycle, a shake reminder, the option to completely mute the beeping on it, and the very clean and modern-looking touchscreen interface. It's got all the same cooking functions as the Ninja dual drawers, and you'll also notice it's got windows in the drawers, which are one of those things that sound better on paper than they are in real life. They do get dirty, and because they are low down, it's actually easier to pull the drawer out and have a look from above than it is to go down and peer through them. Other things you need to be aware of with this model: some people have complained that when they've wiped down the control panel, they've ended up with tiny scratches on the surface. I get asked about this a lot. It's not something that's ever bothered me. Also, a couple of things for the setup in the Cosori dual basket don't actually work as they should. For instance, if you set up preheat and sink finish together on both drawers, the timing doesn't work. And secondly, the timer doesn't pause when you pull the drawer out. But it took me quite a long time to notice both of those, and it's entirely possible that if I hadn't mentioned it, you might never notice them. Because the Cosori and the Ninja are so similar, I'm often asked which is the best one to buy, and I usually tell people that it's a Pepsi-Coke situation, i.e. there is no bad answer, it's just a preference. They are very similar with their own different quirks and imperfections. I prefer the Cosori despite its imperfections because of the upwards facing control panel and the shake reminder. To be entirely honest, I actually wish I didn't prefer the Cosori because it was gifted to me, and it would be so much easier if I preferred one that I'd bought, but that's the way it is. Next up we have the Ninja Double Stack, probably one of the most controversial air fryers ever to be sold. There has been so much negativity about this model, but it's not bad, it's just different. The heaters are at the back as opposed to overhead, and that does mean that you have to shake the contents more often than you would in the dual drawer side by side to get an even cooking. Ninja do actually say this in the instructions, so it's not like they're trying to mislead anyone. Shaking aside, the double stack is a really good looking air fry. It looks great on the kitchen surface and it's excellent for smaller kitchens because not only have you got two drawers in a small footprint, but within those two drawers you've got racks included, and there's a special mode on the air fryer to allow you to cook stacked meals with different things top and bottom. Just like the Ninja dual drawers, there are three double stack models: the 7.6 litre, the XL, which is 9.5 litres, and a version of the XL with a meat probe included. The XL without the probe is the best seller, and that's the one I recommend to you if you're looking at this model. The Philips 2000 6.2 litre single drawer air fryer is a budget air fryer model which is consistently in the top 10 bestsellers on Amazon. It uses Philips's patented rapid air technology, but be aware part of that means that this model, like all Philips air fryers, has a raised pattern at the bottom of the drawer to help air circulate. And that means it's a little bit tricky to cook things directly in the drawer. It does, however, have a touchscreen, dishwasher safe parts, and a window in the drawer. Ninja have their own budget single drawer air fryer models in two sizes, the 3.8 litre and the 5.2 litre. Now, I've only reviewed the larger of the two, and technically it's the smaller one that is the best seller, but the two models are broadly similar. The main difference with the 3.8 litre model is that you only have 4 cooking functions, which are air fry, roast, reheat and dehydrate. It lacks the 240 Celsius max crisp setting and the bake option, but bake and roast are very similar. Where these older single drawer models differ from the dual drawer ones is that Ninja advise you to preheat before cooking, but you still get nano ceramic coating and dishwasher safe parts. Next is the Ninja Combi, which is technically a multi-cooker, but Amazon puts it in the air fryer bestseller list, so I'm going to include it too. The first thing to point out is although it's called a Combi, it does not have a microwave function. This must be the most asked question I get on my review of this, so I want to make it very clear. The Ninja 12-in-1 Combi is very similar to Ninja's other pot multi-cookers, but because it opens at the front, it's easier to find a spot for it in the kitchen, and you can actually see how the cooking is progressing through the glass door. All of the multi-cookers that Ninja make have an air fryer function, which is why I've included the Combi on this list. But you can also use it for steam, slow cooking and combi meals, which are where you cook grains or pasta on the bottom layer and vegetables or meat on the top. Personally, I really loved the Combi because of its fantastic steam baking facility that makes cakes and frozen pastries amazingly fluffy. Next, it's Ninja's latest addition to their air fryer line, the portable glass Crispi. The Crispi comes with 2 different size glass bowls, crisper plates, plastic lids, an adapter and a power pod which cooks food from overhead directly in the glass bowls. Be aware that the Crispi doesn't quite deliver on the promise of preparing food at home and then cooking it away from the house. If, for instance, you make pasta bake or a pie and take it with you from the fridge cold, Ninja say that you need to microwave it first and then use the power pod to crisp up the top. Another really important thing that I have to point out with the Crispi is that this appliance is different in the US and the UK. They look similar, but they are not. They have different functions, and where I experience problems with the silicone feet melting on both of my UK models, those problems appear not to be happening in the US. The Tower Vortx is next. It's a budget dual drawer with 2 equal sized drawers, each 4.5 litre capacity. Its temperature range is between 50 and 200, giving you the option to cook a variety of things in it, including dehydrating. The obvious sacrifice that's been made to bring this air fry in at such a low retail price is its finish. It's very plasticky and it's got a high gloss finish that attracts lots of dust. On the front there are 12 different presets. Each of these has a default time and temperature setting that correlates with the image that you see on the display. The tower Vortx is very beepy, and at the end of the cooking cycle, or if you've left it turned on but with the drawers hanging out and no cooking in progress, it does a series of bleeps which sound almost exactly like you would hear in a movie if a bomb was about to explode. One person who has undeniably pushed air fryers into the mainstream over the last couple of years here in the UK is the chef Jamie Oliver, with his collaboration with Tefal. Tefal make two asymmetric dual drawer models, the Easy Fry and the Easy Fry and Grill. The grill version has a chrome finish and the ability to grill on a cast iron crisper plate in the larger drawer. But the black non-grill version is actually more popular on Amazon. The most noticeable thing about the model I tested was that it took longer to cook than other air fryers I've tried. Not as long as an oven, of course, but still not as quick as it should have been. This photo shows the results of cooking two halves of the same batch of potatoes at the same temperature in my Cosori next to the ones I did in my Tefal. And one other negative with the Tefal air fryers is they have a combined start, stop and power button. To put it into standby, you have to press and hold the start button. Now, my mum has the grill version of this Tefal air fryer, and she usually just ends up turning it off at the wall. If you're looking for a small air fryer for one person, you could do a lot worse than the Midea 2 litres, which I now refer to as a pocket air fryer. It's incredibly lightweight with very simple manual controls, no presets and no variable fan speeds. I recommend this one for students starting university, solo campers and older first-time air fryer owners. With an RRP of $34.99, you really can't go far wrong with it. Another Amazon bestseller is the second ever air fryer I reviewed, which is the 5.5 litre Cosori. This one was also gifted. This air fryer has a bewildering display of presets on the control panel and a not entirely satisfactory setup with an inner basket that pops in and out for cleaning. The real downside of this model is that the basket has to be locked into the outer drawer in order for the air fryer to work. So that means, unlike models with crisper plates, you can't empty the drawer and cook directly in it, which you may want to do if you're cooking something large or something that you want to cook in its own juices. Lots of people do love this model, but personally it's not one I recommend because of the limitations with the basket. And finally, the racing car of air fryers, the Cosori Turboblaze, another one that was gifted to me. It promises to be 46% faster than other air fryers because of its DC motor. It turns out that the other air fryers they have tested it against are actually that 5.5 litre model which I was just talking about. But the Turboblaze is still a great single drawer air fryer. I love the fact that you can see which of the 5 fan speeds your chosen setting is running at on the control panel, and it's also got a preheat function. That DC motor I mentioned also means it's one of the most energy efficient and quietest air fryers I've tested, with Cosori saying it usually runs at below 53 dB, even on the top speed. Now, you might have noticed that I haven't talked about split drawer air fryers like Ninja's Flex Drawer in this video. That's because they generally don't feature in the bestsellers list. But if you want to find out more about those, I have a separate video where I compare 3 of the split drawer bestsellers, and that's linked below. I've also got longer review videos for all of these air fryers and links to purchase them in the description below.